Hey everyone, it's Bethany, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use foil iron-on in the Cricut Joy. So I'm going to be creating two little t-shirts today, and they're really sweet. I did pre-wash them. They're all ready to go. They're these really cute little striped pink shirts, and I think they're just adorable. I got them at Target, and I'll link everything below, the shirts and the iron-on materials that we're going to use, so be sure you check out that description box. So we're going to be putting our iron-on these cute little shirts. I'm going to use a combination of foil iron-on, and I'm also going to use this watercolor patterned iron, and I think they're going to look super cute. So what I did is grabbed my Cricut Joy mat because I'm going to be trimming down some full-size materials to place through the Cricut Joy. I have some scissors and a measuring tape and a weeding tool. So I am going to go ahead and measure my area so I know how big I can make my little designs. So I am going to, let's see, I think I'm going to do about 4 inches. I want to make sure that I stay around 4 inches, maybe by 5 inches. That looks about good for the first shirt. And this first shirt is, I think, 4T. Okay, so that sounds about good. I'm just going to keep my height maybe around 4.5. And again, the Joy is going to have some size restrictions as well, so I'll probably just make that as big as I can. And then for the little 2 t-shirt, I always just size that down just a hair and we'll be all ready to go. Okay, let's hop into Design Space. I'm going to show you the design that we're going to use, and then we will go ahead and learn how to cut the foil iron-on and the other patterned iron-on on the Cricut Joy.
Okay, so this is the design that I'm going to use, and I just found this in the images section of Cricut Design Space. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get this edited a little bit because I want it to be a little bit different than it is right now. So right now it is a double layer cut file. We have one layer that is just the scallop, and then we have the second layer that has a double layer heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do some slicing. So I'm going to select both of my layers, selected both in the corner over here, and then I am going to go ahead and say slice. So what that did was it sliced out that inner heart from the outer heart. I'm going to go ahead and delete the slice result, and then I'm going to bring this down here and I'm going to contour. And what I want to do is I want to remove those inner parts right here. So I am going to go ahead and take out, what contouring is turning off any cuts that you don't want the Cricut to make. So I'm going to take out this, and this, and I'm left with my scallop border. Okay, I can click out, and now I have my scallop border and my inner part. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to unlock and just kind of edit and drag apart this second heart because I want it to kind of fit around and have a little kind of border around that middle heart, and that is looking pretty good. Make it a little wider. Okay, I'm almost happy with that. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted it to look like. Okay, so now that I have it where I want it to look like, I'm going to select everything so that I can size everything at the same time. You'll see a triangle alert over here in your layers panel, and it's just allowing us to realize that this is too big for the Joy as is. So we just need to size this down. So I am going to go ahead and select both again to size them at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and lock that again because now we like how everything is. And then I'm going to size this. Let's do about, okay, so I'm at about 4.25 for height by 4.75 in width, so that's perfect. Now what I'm going to do is with both of them selected, I'm going to come over here to duplicate because I'm making 2 shirts, and then I'm just going to size the second one down just a little bit because that shirt is a little bit smaller. So that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to color code. So why you want to color code is so you know which mat to put in first. So this middle part is going to be the watercolor. I'll just leave that pink. But the outer border with the scallop edge is going to be the foil. So I'm just going to make that a yellow color so that I know that that is the foil. So color coding is just important when you want to organize your mats on the next screen, and it lets you know which mat to put in next and which material. Okay, so now the Joy is selected, so I'm going to go ahead and select Make It, and then I am going to say On the Mat. Click Done, And now it has went ahead and placed them on the mat for me. So now the next thing I need to do is I need to mirror each mat because we are working with iron-on. So I'm just going to click each mat and I'm going to toggle over the mirror button so that the mirror button is on each one. Okay, perfect. So mirror is on all of my mats. Click continue. It's going to locate my Joy, and then I can go ahead and make my machine selection for material. So if you browse materials, you'll notice in the iron-on section, at least at the time of this video, there is not that I can see a foil iron-on option, unless I'm totally missing it, but I've looked and looked and I don't see one. So I did some test cuts on the foil iron-on, and I used the everyday iron-on setting and it worked just fine. So I'm just using everyday iron-on for both the foil as well as the patterned iron-on as well. Okay, so now we are going to load 2 mats of foil, then we're going to load 2 mats of the watercolor, and we'll get to cutting and pressing. Okay, so now I need to go ahead and check my heat settings for my EasyPress so that I know how to press this material. So I'm going to go ahead and select my EasyPress 2. I'm going to select foil for my material. Base material will be 100% cotton. I'll have my EasyPress mat and I'll select apply. So it will tell me to preheat my material. 295 is what I will preheat my machine to. I'll press it for 30 seconds at light pressure. Then I'll flip the whole shirt, press it for an additional 15 seconds, and then do a cold peel. Now I'm going to go ahead and look up the directions for pressing the watercolor pattern HTV. So my watercolor HTV is from Expressions Vinyl. I'll link it below. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to their heat settings chart right here, and then I'm going to look for the patterned HTV. So it's right here. So this is the heat settings little guide that they have. So when you scroll down to patterned, it's going to be at 305, 10 to 15 seconds, hot or cold peel, and the pressure is medium. So what I will do is I will go ahead and I will press the patterned iron-on first because it is at a hotter temperature, and then I will cool my machine down and I will press the foil iron-on second.
Okay, so I have my first piece of foil placed on my mat. So you want to place it foil side down or shiny side down or face side down on the mat. So what I did was I know that I'm going to be doing the gold foil, so that is face down on the mat. And then I'm going to go ahead and place it right into my machine and do the first cut. Okay, so I'm going to do the watercolor next. Now, what I was thinking was because I have this longer mat, what I could have done is I could have told my design space that I was using the longer mat and gotten all those pieces on one mat. So I could have done both watercolor pieces on one mat and both foil pieces on one mat, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to place it the shiny side down or the pattern side down on the mat and get this cutting as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on my machine. I'm going to preheat that to the 305, and it's going to be for 10 to 15 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down to 15 seconds. So it's going to go ahead and preheat. This is going to be for the patterned HTV first. So I'll go ahead and set that to the side, and we will start weeding. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and weed out my little pieces. So the first I'll do is this watercolor HTV. I think this is going to look really cool on these shirts as well. Okay, so I am just removing any part of the design that I do not want in my final design. So it'll be the perimeter, and then you just kind of sometimes have to hold it up at an angle. And sometimes it's also nice if you keep your design up on Design Space, because you will know which pieces need to be weeded out and then which pieces should stay. Sometimes when you use particular designs, it can be helpful. Okay, so here is our first little heart. It's so cute. Put it right there. Okay, and then this is our second heart, which is exactly the same. Okay, so now we will, it's our second little heart. And the fun thing about patterns is that no two will be the same. So both of these are very different because they've cut on different portions of that material. So those are really cool. Okay, so for the foil, we're going to weed it the same way and trim off this little piece down here, I can save a little bit more on this. Okay, so I'll save that. Now, I've had this foil for quite a while. I actually got it in a little sampler that came with my bundle, I think, and that was just my press. It's all ready to go. I believe it was with my bundle that I got this foil sampler, and many of you have been asking me to do projects with it, and I was just confused on how I wanted to use it and what materials and projects to use it on. And finally, I did a shirt, and I'll link it in the box up in the front here on the top corner. I did another shirt with it, and I am now obsessed with foil. So now I'm just about out. I've almost run out of my little sampler pack, and now I want to buy more. So it's really funny, and it's a lesson actually that I wanted to share, is that you want to, if you're confused about how to use a certain material, the best thing you can do is start using it, because once you use it, the inspiration really comes. And that has happened to me also with the Cricut Deluxe adhesive back paper. That was another material that I really was confused on how I was going to use it, and then once I did a project with it, it seemed like my ideas just kept coming and kept coming. So if you're ever unsure about how to use a certain material, just start using it, and I promise all of the inspiration will just come. Okay, so then here is the other piece. I think this is going to go with this one, and the other will go with this one. So these are going to look really, really cute together. Oh, I love it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get our EasyPress heat mat out, and then we will start getting everything prepped and ready to press. Okay, so I have my bigger of the two shirts, and I'm just going to place it right on my mat here and get it all straightened out. And I think I mentioned it, but if not, I did pre-wash my shirt, so it's nice and washed and dried. And I'm going to take my press, and I'm just going to run it over for about 5 seconds to both smooth out the shirt from any wrinkles and also remove any moisture that could have been in the shirt. So just about 5 seconds, and that should be good to go. So now this first layer that we're doing first is going to be the patterned iron-on. So what I'm going to do is I have them both on here, but I am going to just place them together so that I can get everything centered how I want it. So let me put this down, and then I'm going to put this on top just for centering purposes, and then I'll peel that layer off. Okay, so perfect. I think I'm going to do right about there. That looks good to me. Maybe over just a little bit. Okay, so that looks good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off the foil, and we'll press that next when we get our temperature for the foil. Okay, so now I'm going to take my press. I'm going to do 305 for 15 seconds, and it says to do medium pressure. Now it does have you, for the foil, it has you flip the shirt over and press again on the back. So we'll do that when the whole design is on there. Okay, so that is great. So now before we cool off our machine, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to our second shirt. Okay, so I have my little second shirt here. Again, I'm just preheating the material, making sure everything is ready to go. Okay, that's perfect. And then, once again, I'm going to place both of the designs on at the same time, just to center everything. Okay, I'm going to bring this down just to reference. That looks about the same. Okay, so now I'm going to peel away the foil once I have it where I want it. That looks good to me. Peel away the foil. Place it to the side, and then again 10 to 15 seconds. I usually do the longer of the two with medium pressure at 305. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to look at the heat guide one more time. We are going to cool this down to 295, which is going to take 0 time at all, and I'm going to bump the timer up to 30 seconds. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, the other one I believe was a hot or cold peel. It was. Okay, so let me grab my first shirt. let this sit to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and peel this up. It looks great. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my foil layer where I would like it. Perfect. And now that foil layer has a full carrier sheet on top, so it's protecting my bottom patterned iron-on, so we are all good to go for repressing. Okay, so now that that has preheated to the 295 and cooled off, I'll go ahead and place it right on my design. And then it did say light pressure, so you just can place a hand on there and it will count down from 30. And then when we're done with this, what we'll do is we will flip this shirt over and we'll do an additional 15 seconds, and then we'll do the second shirt. Okay, so now we will go ahead, flip the shirt over, and 15 seconds on the back. Okay, so that was 15 seconds on the back. So now this is a cold peel. So I'm going to go ahead and completely set this to the side. And I'm actually going to put it on my cold table because that will help draw the heat out of it. Whenever you want something to cool down quickly, make sure you take it off of this mat because the mat retains a lot of heat. That's why it does such a good job with helping the EasyPress press on designs, because it helps bring that heat back up into the design. But if you're trying to cool something down, it's not really helping you because it's really warm. So make sure you put it on a cold surface. So I'm going to peel away this carrier sheet, place it to the side, and then put my foil on. Okay, looks great. Put my EasyPress right on here and press. Okay, so these have completely cooled, so I'm just going to go ahead and take my sheet and lift. And I'm going to monitor the edges and make sure that nothing is lifting with it, and it looks really, really good. Okay, and if you do see that you have any lifting, what you'll do is you will just take the carrier sheet that you just peeled away and you will place it right back on there and repress it, and it will take care of it. So you can do that if you find any lifting, but I think these look pretty darn good. Okay, so I think they turned out really, really cute. What do you think? I love the shine to it, and I love it with the watercolor. I think these are going to be some popular shirts at our house for the rest of summer. All right, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you thought these turned out really, really cute, be sure to give this a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.